Welcome back to the last part of this Spectrum how-to. This is the fun one. This is where we get to do all the other weird stuff that I've kind of discovered along the way, and I get to show them off. But first, we're going to start with a couple of advancements that I only just barely figured out how to do. It needs to be understood that all Spectrum enchantments need to be done on the Spectrum Enchanter. They can't be done on an anvil like in vanilla. So what we have here is our Enchanter. Now, what's in these bowls? Power 5. Because if you look at the advancement, it very specifically says, enchant your 7 league boots with power. Doesn't mean soul speed. It literally means power. Top it in here. Post-editing Anki here. I realized I never actually told you how to get the 7 league books. It's leather boots, 4-leaf clover, a phantom membrane, purple pigment with liquid crystal inside of the fusion shrine, and you'll get the league boots. Boots. Once you have those, that's when you can continue on from this step. So they both have power 5, and boom goes the dynamite. There we go. Now, I don't know what good this does. I can't put them on. Oh well, moving on. There's a few more things we can do with liquid crystal that is not inherently obvious. Liquid crystal also has multiple effects with other liquids in Minecraft. For example, if we put it down here between this lava and water source, we get calcite and cobbled deep slate. Now, cobbled deep slate is easy to get anywhere. However, calcite is something there's not very much of in 1.18, and it's harder to get. So if you want to use and build all your pedestals out of calcite, this is the easiest way to do it. So now we know that pouring liquid crystal on top of these two fluids has one reaction, but the reverse is also true. For instance, if we dab lava and water, they have yet a different reaction. Blazing crystal and frostbite crystal. I am making a stone prison for good reason, because the next thing involves a volatile substance, and I don't want it escaping. That's right, it's Midnight Solution. Midnight Solution has multiple uses. It's more than just enchanting. Something I found completely by accident is if you put certain items in it, it changes them. Now, I threw almost everything in it that I could think of that would be of any use, and they're all vanilla blocks, but they all have completely different things now. Soul sand, glowstone, netherrack, blackstone. It decays 1 level of copper. I put this in a second time, and it won't decay a second time. I'm sure there's probably a mechanic later on that will. But no, you can instant decay 1 level of copper, which is kind of cool. These are just the ones I found. I found if you threw an enchanted item in it, it will take the enchantment off. I'm sure there's more. With that being done, we're going to do the slime idol advancement, which is to make one humongous. And that is what that gigantic field of idols are for. See, the slimes, when they bounce on them, they'll actually grow themselves. But I'm curious, if you're standing next to it and it grows itself to humongous, do you get the credit, or do you have to stand on it? And, well, I've already recorded this footage. It got a little out of hand. You know, doing this achievement is a little bit more tenuous than I thought it was going to be. Because they get real big real fast. But how big is humongous? This is where things get more than a little bit of out of hand. If you want to see the insanity and how far out of hand, keep watching. Otherwise, feel free to skip. What? What have you done? What have you done? This is... Killed 1,000. Now multiplies it by 3. I'm gonna crash my world. 2000. Oh my goodness. My computer doesn't like this very much. 6,000. Oh my gosh, one of the slime balls ended up inside of the shrine, and so it's like making a slime egg. This is... Oh, that's so loud. I need to get them away from that. So we're gonna come right over here. Dot 150. To me. Okay. Learn from my mistake. Because, wow. Alright, I just got it. So the way this advancement works is if the slime itself is on the idle, and it gets to the humongous size, which is this size, then you don't get the advancement. You have to be the one to hit the idle to make the slime bigger. So it wasn't until I spawned it outside of the cage and I walked across the idols that I got big enough that I got the advancement. So don't be like me and do something silly. It came to the right scrap, gave me a whole bunch of new enchantments. As did nether quartz. Most of these are redstone components. Almost if not all the spectrum-based armor requires you to pick up a vanilla component for you to actually unlock the recipe. For example, the gemstone armor requires that you pick up a nautilus shell for the chest, gas tears for the boots, phantom membranes for the legs, eyes of enders for the helmet, which also gives you the bag of holding, which is a welted ender chest, a 4-leaf clover for the fanciful boots, and a heart of the sea for the weeping circlet. For the potion workshop, you need to be able to pick up a blaze rod to open up a lot more recipes, and each spectrum enchantment has a vanilla side component that you have to pick up. I don't know what they all are. I didn't stop to think to like make a list until it's like 3/4 of the way through this. Maybe I'll update some of this for the next major update, but for the time being, I'll let you discover that on your own. But let's get to some of the components and blocks and stuff that are left behind. This is the last part. Alright, so we're going to start with just the decoration blocks to begin with. These ones are just straight up color blocks. And these are all made just by a 3x3 grid of the pigment of that particular color. So there's one for almost every single color. Now at the end, there's also a shimmering light. I used this in my Olafabric 5 walkthrough to light up my secret underground lab because it sits on the wall, it's very subtle, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. It's not a torch. I really like this item a lot. Now the next 2 rows actually emit light. Now this first row here is actually a lamp. Underneath all of these lamps, I have a block of redstone. That's why they're glowing right now. If you were to take the redstone away, then it's only emitting that one block. Now these are different from regular redstone lamps because if you put a block of redstone underneath one redstone lamp, it'll light up the 3 around it because of the way that the blocks transfer redstone power. These blocks do not transfer redstone power, so you actually have to have a block underneath it for it to work. The recipe for this is the pigment, redstone dust, the shimmer stone gem, and whatever powder it is inside the pedestal. So these have to be crafted on a typical manner. Now these are just straight up glow blocks. These are crafted again with pigment and quixotic powder inside of a pedestal. And these come in just about every single color. I think it's only missing one because it says it's not yet available in survival. And I think that's the dark gray. Yeah, it's whatever that one is. And so it's just missing one. It's the only reason why I did not add it is because it's not available in this version, even though I can pull it out of creative. That seems really kind of disingenuous to do. And the last thing is the spore blossoms. You can dye all the spore blossoms different colors, and they give off spores of that color. From a distance, it kind of looks like confetti. Kind of pretty. And then you've got the jade petal. I was saying, the jade petal blocks you can actually get from the jade vine, as well as the carpet, which is 2 blocks for 3 carpet, just like it was wool. Our next couple of blocks start with what is known as an ethereal platform. Which is nifty. The universal spy hole, which allows you to see through any structure, including the ground underneath, as if you're like in spectator. Great for spying on your friends. The ender hopper, which automatically puts stuff into your ender chest. And the ender dropper, which will automatically pull things out of your ender chest. The ethereal platform is crafted with stardust, yellow pigment, shimmerstone on a pedestal. The spy hole requires radiating ender, midnight chips, black pigment. Ender droppers are polished black stone, radiating ender, redstone, and a pigment. And the hopper is the same thing, just a little bit different. Now on to the rest of the redstone components. Now to start with, we have a whole bunch more detectors. A Blockrite detector, a weather detector, an item detector, and a player detector. Now, all of these had an on-off mode that allow you to pick up different types of signals. I have not played with them very much. I have played with this one, because who wouldn't want to? This is essentially an etho hopper clock in a single block, which is absolutely freaking brilliant. This is a redstone calculator for doing maths, and the wireless redstone, which I use to turn farms on and off remotely. They need just to be in line of sight and have power, like repeaters. The particle spawner allows you to spawn certain particles. I think this is going to be creative only, but it's kind of cool. I didn't play with it a lot. But there is a creative version, so I imagine at some point, if it's not already available and I just haven't figured out how to open up the recipe, it will be available. Over here we have a block placer. This does exactly what you think it will do if you power it. Artbound chest is just a little bit bigger of a chest. And this is by far one of my favorite components. This saved me so much time. This is called a compacting chest. And what this does is this will compact things down into better forms, like nuggets into bars and into blocks, just like that. This is the fabrication chest, so you can you throw the recipes in there and it will just keep making them as long as the components are available. And this is something that I think is creative only for the moment, but it's a black hole chest. It looks like it uses the XP orb. I don't know anything about this. I don't know where they go or how it works. I just saw this for the first time, and it is pretty wicked. I'm looking forward to playing with that a little bit. Now, if we go and we look at our advancements, we can see we've got nearly almost everything here. I've killed a wither and picked up the skull. I created the wither head out of withers, and I can't figure out how to make this pop. I will probably post a short if I do figure it out. Big spender is, enchanted single item with enchantments worth over that much. Basically, this is, you take books and you just add enchantments to it. Like if you go end raiding or end busting and you find a chest that's got a book in it, and the book's going to have 2 or 3 enchantments on it. You can add additional enchantments to a book. So if you want to make the ultimate book, you can, like, for a pick, you can take a book and add mending and unbreaking and efficiency 5 and silk touch on the book. But doing that, every single time you do that, increases the amount of levels you need to use the book and increases the amount of levels you need to actually add each enchantment on the book like you do with an item or pick. But doing that increases the amount of XP. That's how you're going to get that particular advancement. But the rest of this is kill stuff, keep using the pedestal, light level, things like this. So the advancements are pretty much done. This mod is fantastic, and it has got so much under the hood that is not open yet. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the next update is. And I will probably start doing an update on the next version starting from here rather than starting completely over, because these take a really long time. And unless there's something significant, I'm not going to come back to this particular tutorial and update anything unless the dev changes something that is going to alter the way something here fundamentally works. And then I'll update it, note on the future update, and put an annotation. Anyway, thank you so much. If you've been here and you've subscribed and liked and all that jazz, and you've been around, please just, I really appreciate you. If you have not and you've watched these, please click like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Share it with your friends. And I will see you for the next one. Goodbye for now.